It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update, as we have news regarding who will potentially dethrone Kenny Omega in AAA, vignettes have been recorded for a rumoured AEW signing, and CM Punk teases another Summer of Punk. All that and more coming up in today's video, but first... Last Friday, AEW debuted their brand new TNT show Rampage, which saw Christian Cage defeat Kenny Omega for the Impact World Championship, as well as Britt Baker successfully defending her AEW Women's title in her hometown. The ratings are now in for the debut episode, as the show drew 740,000 overall viewers, with a 0.3 rating in the key demo. This represents roughly 369,000 viewers between the age of 18 and 49. Bear in mind this show was on later than Dynamite usually airs, starting at 10 PM Eastern rather than 8 PM. This naturally decreases the viewership with it being later on in the night. The Rampage rating is higher than AEW Dynamite's recent run in this later time slot on Friday nights, where they were forced to move due to the NBA playoffs. On Fridays at 10 PM Eastern, Dynamite drew 526,000 viewers with a 0.2 rating. That was on their debut week in the time slot. The upcoming episode of Rampage on Friday night is expected to exceed last week's, with the show set to air live from the United Center in Chicago for the First Dance special, rumored to be the home of CM Punk's AEW debut. Yesterday we reported that one half of the Acclaimed, Max Caster, was selling his ring gear on eBay to raise funds, claiming that he needs $1 for this month. This seemed to be a hint at his reported suspension without pay from AEW following his controversial rap from earlier this month. In an update to the story, the eBay listing has now been removed without a sale, although the reason for this is currently unknown. And in more news regarding the Acclaimed, Caster's tag team partner Anthony Bowens wrestled in singles action this week on AEW Dark, and as we reported last week, this was taped last Wednesday before Dynamite. On the show, Bowens was introduced as one half of the Acclaimed and had the name of the team written on his gear, and carried his trademark beatbox to the ring, an item associated with the tag team's musical side. This may confirm that the team are in fact still together despite being removed from the AEW tag team rankings, with Caster being kept off television until things have cooled down. AEW are still not happy with Caster, but it seems he may still have a role on the roster. Next up, we have a report from WrestleVotes which states WWE are planning for what is being described as off-site events ahead of next year. This follows last week's successful MLB Field of Dreams event held at the movie set for the 1989 Academy Award nominated film Field of Dreams. This was the most watched regular season game in the last 16 years. Several ideas within WWE are being discussed, as detailed in a tweet from WrestleVotes, who said, "With the success MLB had with the Field of Dreams game last week, WWE has begun very initial discussions about doing a few off-site events. Some ideas discussed within creative include Raw on the Roof, Hammerstein Ballroom, and more direct festival shows a la Rolling Loud." The Hammerstein Ballroom is a famous venue in New York City, which famously hosted several ECW events from the year 2000 and onwards, and hosted the famous ECW One Night Stand show under the WWE banner. Raw on the Roof sounds like an interesting concept, and shows from festivals would also be fun. Of course, there was recently some matches taped for SmackDown from the Rolling Loud event, which had a unique feel. Perhaps we could also see the return of WCW's Bash at the Beach on an actual beach. And can you think of any other interesting locations for a wrestling show? Let me know in the comments down below. This past Saturday, AAA held their Triple Mania event live from Mexico City. The show saw AAA Mega Champion Kenny Omega defeat his latest challenger Andrade El Idolo, despite assistance from the legendary Ric Flair. We now have an update from the Wrestling Observer, which suggests that the result was debated back and forth between AAA and AEW, with the Mexican promotion originally wanting to crown Andrade as the new champion, with AEW at the time not wanting Omega to lose any title before losing his AEW AEW Championship. After this though, the decision was then made to have Christian Cage take the Impact World title from the belt collector on the premiere of AEW Rampage, as to build momentum for their eventual AEW title match at All Out. It was then also agreed for Kenny to lose his AAA belt at Triple Mania. It was then in fact AAA who made the ultimate decision, instead opting to keep the belt on Omega, at least for now. The plans are said to have him drop the title to someone else down the line, likely Psycho Clown, who won the main event of Triple Mania in a mask versus hair match against Rey Escorpion, who went home bald. There is no date for the eventual clash between Kenny Omega and Psycho Clown, but as of right now, this is when we'll see the title change hands. Next up, USA Network may not be happy with WWE right now, following their decision to return NXT to a pre-taped schedule rather than sticking to their current live format. The news was broke this week by Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer, who said that the change will come into place after this Sunday's NXT TakeOver 36 event, with tapings scheduled for Monday and Tuesday night. He did note that this could well be a temporary decision. We now have an update from Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast, who has tweeted out word that he has received from people within USA Network, and he was told that this is not what they paid for. He tweeted, "Spoke to a contact from USA Network regarding the rumours of NXT going back to a taped show, and he was then told a taped show is not what we paid for." Zarian then clarified that this is not confirmation that NXT are switching to a taped schedule, and he is simply relaying the words that he was told when he asked about the rumour. We will keep you updated should any further information become available. As we discussed in a recent news video, AEW is said to be interested in adding a brand new name to their women's division. Fightful recently reported that Ruby Soho, the former Ruby Riott in WWE, is said to be AEW bound, with her rejecting advances from other promotions that have reached out, who were then told she is not currently taking bookings. In a further update from Fightful, we can expect the noise to pick up in regards to Soho moving to AEW, as they have been informed that Ruby has recently made vignettes which will drop very soon, although it wasn't clear if this was for AEW specifically or just for her social media. This could be a similar situation to that of Malachi Black and Buddy Murphy. Numerous other companies are said to be showing an interest in the former leader of the Riot Squad, though it's unknown if any of them have had formal conversations. Ruby was released from WWE on June 2nd, 2021, and will be available to work elsewhere once her 90-day non-compete clause ends on August 31st. And quickly, just before we continue, make sure you scroll down and drop a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming wrestling content as we head towards 20,000 subscribers. But now that you've done that, let's get on with the rest of the video. And finally, CM Punk has once again added fuel to the fire of the recent AEW debut rumours after posting a cryptic message to his Instagram story. Punk posted a series of 3 numbers which read 05, 11 and 21. For those that don't understand the reference, CM Punk is known for 2 popular storylines, both billed as the Summer of Punk. The first of which occurred in Ring of Honor in 2005, with Punk winning the Ring of Honor title on his way out of the company before signing his WWE contract on the belt. The story then followed Punk to find out which ROH wrestler would be the one to bring the title back to the company. The second Summer of Punk happened in 2011, which was kickstarted by the infamous Pipe Bomb promo, with CM Punk declaring his contract with WWE was expiring and that he's taking the WWE Championship with him. The post implies that we have yet another Summer of Punk, this time a 2021 version. Some fans have also speculated that the dates could point towards years that he signed a major wrestling contract, with 2005 being the years he signed with WWE and 2011 being when he extended his current deal. I don't think this is the case, however, as it's unlikely that Punk's first contract was 6 years long, and it's also unlikely that he didn't receive some kind of extension or raise between the years of 2005 and 2011. For that reason, I'm going to stick with the Summer of Punk theory. CM Punk is reportedly set to appear this Friday at the first dance edition of AEW Rampage, which airs live from the United Center, the home of the Chicago Bulls and the Blackhawks. This Instagram post is the latest hint that suggests the reports are indeed true as we continue to head towards the reveal this Friday. And before you go, make sure you check out my video where I discuss the secret wrestling returns of CM Punk during his so-called retirement.